All right, one of my favorite books here of all time, Four Seasons in Rome, a memoir by Anthony Doerr, who happens to be one of my favorite authors. And this book is about the time that Anthony spent with his wife and two young twin boys in Rome, Italy. He lived for a year on some sort of fellowship that he won. During that year, he wrote his Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, All the Light We Cannot See. But this is just more of a memoir about his life in Rome, sort of talking about the city of Rome and just how beautiful and rich and overwhelming it is, but also the challenges of raising twin boys who are 1 year old in a foreign country. The book is funny, it's poignant, it's memorable, and he always seems to find a way to give little hints at the unsayable or the infinite in his writing. So I'm going to share a bunch of excerpts from this book. Most of them are shorter, a few are a bit longer, but I just read this book, and I've said this before, but it's one of those books that just stays with you long after you've read it. I have not forgotten it. So with that, let's get to the excerpts. First one. Different days pass verdict on different men, and only the last day a final verdict on all men. And consequently, no day is to be trusted. Second one, talking about life in Rome. Every time I turn around here, I witness a miracle. Wisteria pours up walls. Slices of sky show through the high arches of a bell tower. Water leaks nonstop from the spouts of a half-sunken marble boat in the Piazza di Spagna. A church floor looks soft as flesh. The skin from a ball of mozzarella cheese tastes rich enough to change my life. That last line I always remember. A ball of mozzarella cheese tastes rich enough to change my life. That was funny and memorable line. Next one, real short. He says, I'm thankful that everything sweet is sweet because it is finite. Next one. The mind craves ease. It encourages the senses to recognize symbols, to gloss. It makes maps of our kitchen drawers and neighborhood streets. It fashions a sort of algebra out of life. And this is useful, even essential. Without habit, the beauty of the world would overwhelm us. We'd pass out every time we actually saw a flower. Imagine if we only got to see a cumulonimbus cloud or Cassiopeia or a snowfall once a century. There'd be pandemonium in the streets. People would lie by the thousands in the fields on their backs. He continues shortly after. Habitualization devours work, clothes, furniture, one's wife, the fear of war. Over time, we stop perceiving familiar things, words, friends, apartments, as they truly are. To eat a banana for the 1,000th time is nothing like eating a banana for the first time. To have sex with somebody for the 1,000th time is nothing like having sex with that person for the first time. The easier an experience, or the more entrenched, or the more familiar, the fainter our sensation of it becomes. This is true of chocolate and marriages and hometowns and narrative structures. Complexities wane, miracles become unremarkable, and if we're not careful, pretty soon we're gazing at our lives as if through a burlap sack. Leave home, leave the country, leave the familiar. Only then can routine experiences, buying bread, eating vegetables, even saying hello, become new all over again. Next one. To see our planet from space, you'd never know about all our human dramas, all of these desperations being played out in our deserts and forests and wetlands. The Earth a tinderbox of sage and cheatgrass, 30 tectonic plates floating atop an asthenosphere of half-melted asphalt. The bright flares of human desires, the endless, unsympathetic swirling of oblivion. Here's another duality of Rome. The way time here feels simultaneously immense and tiny. Wow. He was writing this in 2004, right during that tsunami in Southeast Asia. So this next quote is in the context of that. He goes, "Fate is whimsy. I could be you reading this page. You could be on a breakwater in Sri Lanka, or making dinner in your house in Pompeii, laughing with your daughter, 5 minutes left to live. Everywhere the world reminds us how little control we have. The wind tearing through your jacket, a cluster of bacteria hiding in your hamburger." I've thought about that idea a lot, that the fact that I was born in America in the early 90s to the parents I was born to is just a matter of fate. I could have just as easily been a slave in 1100 BC in Peru. So I've had that thought, and then reading this passage, I think that's sort of where that thought originated. A couple more quotes here. His sons' name are Henry and Owen. So he says, they're 1 year old. He goes, Henry and Owen see more images in a day than Pliny, this ancient Roman, saw in a lifetime. And I worry their generation will have to work a bit harder than every previous one to stay alert to the miracles of the world. Could not agree more. Italians will stop anything for pleasure. And the longer we're here, the more we feel he's right. Espresso, silk pajamas, a 5-minute kiss, the sleekest, thinnest cell phone, extremely smooth leather, truffles, yachts, 4-hour dinners. One of the reasons I wanted to read this book is this idea that Europeans and Italians in particular are much, much better than Americans at soaking up the finer things in life, enjoying life. And that quote in particular sums that up. Obviously, that has its upsides and its downsides, but there is something really incredible about Italian culture. Final 2 quotes. I agree to live now, live as sweetly as I can, to fill my clothes with wind and my eyes with lights. But I understand I'll have to leave in the end. Final line. Not knowing is always more thrilling than knowing. Not knowing is where hope and art and possibility and invention come from. It is not knowing, that old thing, that allows everything to be renewed. After reading this book, I ended up visiting Italy last summer. I did not go to Rome, but I spent time in Milan, Genoa, Pisa, and Florence. And as advertised in the book, it was a time of enjoying the moment, embracing the beauty of the countryside, eating great food, drinking great wine, spending time at the beach. And I like this book so much. I met a girl I knew at work a few years ago. I found out she'd gone to Rome, and I actually bought this book for her. And I just said, I know you're going to love this. You got to read it. And sure enough, we started dating. Shortly after that, we've been dating for 2.5 years now. So 4 Seasons in Rome, a beautifully written book that can also bring people together.